it was just one of those situations that we had to face. And it made me think very long and hard because I'm very good personally at communicating with clients. So it helped us research some of this. I saw some of the Tom Ferry videos and some of the Brian Buffini videos, and there were a bunch of different people who've addressed this topic. And we've put all this together to create the Don't Fire Me report system. A couple people have come out with that name. I kind of like it. Dina's here now. She'll tell you we worked here. We worked on a client for many, many months. That was one that for us, it was a relief to kind of let them go, but that's definitely not the norm. The norm is that you've got to find a way to keep those clients. So properties today, especially given how crazy the market is, are going to require price reductions in challenging markets. Very, very difficult conversation to have. Anybody have that conversation as of lately? Don't want to be the only talking head here. Okay, Dina. Aside from Dina, I'm going to pick on Dina quite a bit this meeting, and she just had 5 days off. I want to definitely keep her on her toes. Jonathan, any major challenges with price reductions? Can you chime in and let everyone know who you
Sure.
are, where you
Yep.
are?
So Jane and I had a listing in our Boston suburban area. Uh, Fabulous house, kind of one of the nicer houses in this in this community. Our buyers, our sellers built the house themselves. It was their pride and joy. We told them what we should price it at. They wanted to price it higher, in large part because they really weren't ready to sell it, but they wanted to see what happened. We had the conversation with them that we're happy to do this with the understanding that we are going to revisit this after a certain period of time. And they were good with that. We did. We lowered the price. Ultimately, we ended up selling the property.
Okay.
The key thing was, yes, it was overpriced initially. Yes, we took the listing even though it was overpriced initially, but we had the hard conversation with them at the outset. We are happy to follow your advice and do what you want, but understand that we're the experts within the community. And if it doesn't sell, the reason it's not going to sell is not the house because the house is fabulous. The only reason it's not going to sell is because of the price. And then what you do during that period of time is you give them all the data you possibly can. Most importantly, the number of views that are happening. We had thousands of views of this property on Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever. Weren't getting any showings. Why weren't we getting any showings? Seller, it's because your house is overpriced.
Sure. So tell me, Jonathan, and I'm going to pick on a lot of people on this one. How much lower was the price in that case? Without giving us the name of the client or, I don't want you to volunteer anything secretive. What was the differential? Can we talk about that briefly?
It was almost 20%, Edmund.
Yeah. Okay. It happens. We
Yeah.
did we did the same thing. And guess what? We had a bidding war as soon as that price went down. Um,
We sold once the property was at the right price, we sold it like that.
yeah. And that's the hard thing. Dean and I have a listing that's coming up in October, and the price, if we could just get them down, if we could, yeah, look at Dina, just a little bit, little tiny bit, if we could just get them down. Because here's the thing, and I've said this in previous meetings, but I want you to write this down as well. Johnny, write this down. If you remember in the 70s and 80s, Jonathan, I'm sure you've seen this, as seen on TV. For the low, low price of $19.95 plus, finish the sentence, Jonathan, plus 1995 plus, maybe
I don't know.
shipping and handling.
Oh, sure.
Plus shipping and handling. Now, why did they never cross that 1995 price point? They never crossed the 1995 price point because it might as well be $30 at that point because people are not going to go beyond that threshold. The psychology, the price point is clearly different, but the psychology is the same in real estate. That you cross that certain price point and you lose an entire set of buyers that would have been there. So we have that right now where we're going to get the listing. And Dean, I think we're going to be able to get them down to that. They just need to make that little bit of move because here's the thing. When you do a search, let me pick on Marlene on this one. When you've got a buyer that says to you that they want to buy something up to $1 million and you search on the MLS for those properties, how high are you looking?
1,000,002.
1,000,002. Okay, so you're going 20% higher. Great. Let me pick on Dirk here. Dirk, if you can unmute yourself and just introduce yourself to everyone. What do you do when somebody wants $1 million property? What's the search?
Yeah, I'm Dirk with Signature Real Estate out of Denver, Colorado. When I have a buyer doing a search, I go about 10% over what they're qualified for to search.
Okay. So Marlene's at 20%, you're at 10%. Greg, do you do anything? And just introduce yourself, please. Still has to unmute.
Yeah, Greg Coggins in Charleston, South Carolina, and I typically go up 10%, but at the $1 million price point, I may not go quite that high.
Okay.
But yeah, I probably would 1.1.
Okay. So whether you are Marlene at 20% or Dirk or Greg at 10%, all of you, by the way, are within range. All realtors do this. It's very, very clear, and this is what you need to communicate to your clients, to your sellers. You could say to them right after this meeting, hey, I was just on this great mastermind with a group of people, and they all agreed that we're going to go maybe 10% higher than the actual market value. When you are much higher than that, and we know that there's a lot out there, we start to lose these deals. And they go on to the next realtor. Sometimes I've seen it go to 5 different realtors, and then it's sold to the ultimate price that I told them originally to sell it at. Anybody ever see anything like that? Maybe. Okay, a few of you nod wildly. That's the thing. So, what do we do in the meantime? What we're talking about is two different factors in this, and this could account for any business out there. One is try and address the price point while you're at it, and two, work on the communication that you've got with the client in the process. And that's what the system is really all about, is to be able to take a look at what you're going to be doing to communicate with everyone. Um, I'll pick on. I'm just trying to see, guys. If I'm not seeing you because you're not on video, feel free to unmute, like Casey, like Kirsten, like Laura, like Lavette, like Linda. I'm seeing a lot of you here that are not up on the screen, like Maxine. I do want all of you to be part of this conversation. I just can't see you. Um, what are some of the ways that you communicate with the client, particularly if it's overpriced? Don't be shy. We won't bite, at least not too hard. Trying to see here.
Good
Okay,
morning,
who's that? Here.
Maxine. It's Maxine.
Maxine, great. How are you, Maxine? Want to tell
I'm
everyone who you
good.
are, and where you are?
Yes, Maxine Till, licensed real estate agent. I'm in the Bronx, New York, licensed in all of New York State. When it comes to price point or reductions, I really just give them like local stats, right? So I give them the comps again to have that conversation
Okay.
and then remind them of their goals. Like we set out to get this sold. Everything else is on par. We discussed that if we didn't have showings or offers within 2 weeks, that we would need to revisit the price. And, you know, and then I give them again the range that I suggested from the beginning.
Okay. On a day-to-day basis, is there any communication that you have with or week to week? How often are you communicating with the client that has these homes that might be sitting there?
On a weekly basis.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes the weekly touch-in um, to remind them that there was no showings this week if we're overpriced or there was no offers, and the activity is slow. Sometimes that weekly reminder that like nothing is moving along kind of preps them for the conversation to improve the price.
Okay. I think Greg has a comment or question. Greg Coggins, you got to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I'm really having a hard time with my computer this morning.
Oh,
So if I agree, and I've had 3 lessons in my whole career, I've only had 4 listings that I've lost. 3 of them have been in the last 4 months. All three, well, 2 of them were significantly overpriced. And to your comment when you opened up, um, I learned a lesson. I'm not taking overpriced listings anymore. Or, and I did this with one of them, I'm building into the listing agreement at the outset. You are overpriced. We will agree that 2 weeks from now, if we have not gotten, significant activity, or we have gotten significant activity, but we haven't gotten any offers, we're going to lower the price and we're going to lower it to this. And I've gotten in the past, I've gotten people to agree to that and it works. But um, I took those three and or two, and I knew the outset that they weren't going to sell and had lengthy conversations with the seller about it, but ended up losing the listing. And then, just like you said, they sold at or below the price that I initially recommended.
Sure.
So I don't think I'm taking them. At least if I know at the outset that there's no way it's going to sell, I'm not taking the listing.
Good for you. Okay. It's a legitimate choice. Does anyone agree with Greg on that? Okay. Alicia, could I pick on you? And then Lavette, I'll get you right after. Alicia, you just need to unmute.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
your hand jumped up right away. So that made me, I just felt an instant electric connection with you there. What's comment on this? What do you think
No, I
that
think
happened?
that Greg, I think especially in this market, I think Greg is correct. I mean, I don't think it's worth, I think it's great to get the listing, but I think you need to have a very upfront conversation with the sellers because I still think people want to overprice their homes and we all know they won't sell. So I think it takes strategically, it's a waste of your time and it's a waste of their time because now you have the house sitting on the market, getting days on market, and it's just losing value every day it sits there. So
It's true. Okay. Thank you for that. Lavette, tell everyone who you are and where you are, please.
Good day, everyone. My name is Lavette, and I'm in Southampton Roads, Virginia. So I also agree with Greg. What I started doing recently, well, first of all, when I go to my listing appointments, I have a very thorough report from Chat GPT, why pricing matters, why pricing it right from the beginning matters. Um, but I also bring the listing change form because if there's just like a little difference in the price where they want to be a little bit high, and I'm like, I think you should be here. So what I'll say to them is, okay, we'll give it 7 to 10 days,
Mhm.
and if nothing happens, no traffic or anything, we need to lower the price. But I'm gonna get you to sign the price change right now. I'll hold on to it. So I already had that up front. I just recently started doing that. Someone gave me that suggestion. I can't remember who, but yes, it's been working.
Okay. Very, very good. And again, I get great inspiration from you, Lavette, that you really are thoughtful and put out and driven. And in the short time that I've known you, even though I've not met you in person, I'm very fond of you. And I think that you're really pushing your career to the limits here. And that's just great, great stuff. So kudos to you. I got
Thank
a
you.
hand up from Tiffany. Tiffany, want to introduce yourself?
Hi, how are you? Good morning, everyone. I'm Tiffany Goad. I work with Edmund at the Boca office. Um, so you know, Edmund, that I lost listening to quote unquote friends. I even took this guy to a concert and he got backstage through a friend of mine, and I still lost the listing. Known him for years, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But I'm on the same page as not taking overpriced listings and the delusional people. But I have kind of found, I mean, I am pretty black and white on conversations in general, buyers, sellers, whatever. But I have found that if you kind of put them in the driver's seat and say, do you want to be aggressive on your pricing? Or, how do you feel about being aggressive? Or, so you kind of give them a choice and then they're like, oh, wait, like, yeah, I do want to sell quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you kind of just change the dynamics of it, that's been helpful as far as getting a decent price.
Sure. Okay. Well, that works and works pretty well. Actually, our company, Douglas Elliman, and more than half of you are not with Douglas Elliman, and I think you probably have similar materials, has a great graphic. Dina loves this graphic. It shows like little graphics of little people. If you go at the price, you get this number of people. If you go slightly below the price, suddenly you've got so many more people. And if you go way higher than the price, you get one person. And they show the little number of people that are actually going in. It's a very, very good example
what
of
is your
why you need to have a greater understanding that really at the end of the day we're trying to build a marketplace and it's
And
really
I'm sorry,
Go
that
ahead.
tool that's on I don't know how recent it is or if I was behind the times, but there's that tool on the tax records from the assessor's page that we have that tells you like expected price. And it was actually an Element meeting, the guy that does the financials for us in New York, the
Yeah,
consultant we
that
have.
was. I know who you're talking. Miller Samuel. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the tool though. You see, every day I
Well,
learn
it's
something new.
crazy. Yeah, it's just on the tax page and it tells you like what it's estimated to sell at. And so I used it pretty heavy with my buyers that were looking in the $1 million range because I thought so many people were delusional about what they were asking for. And sure enough, he had said, if you list a little bit over that, then you'll sure to get this price. But I'm pretty sure it's based on the assessors of all the improvements and it's been like crazily accurate. Like it's pretty cool. I'll show it to you. But
Okay.
it's just on the tax page.
If you have it, put it in the chat. And one other thing that I'm just going to pause for a second and put into the chat. Casey's here, which is great. She's my resident computer scientist. She was a computer scientist before she became a realtor. This is my Pomodoro timer. I want all of you to give it a try. It's not yet ready for prime time, but that's why I'm putting it out there. If you guys do have a moment to click on it and give it a try, you could click on it and just save it for later. I believe that all of us should be working in 25-minute blocks, particularly when it's something that you really don't like doing. And on it, there's room for you to keep notes about how well you did. If it's associated with your email on your computer, you could click it and then send a report to me, which we will keep on file for you. Once again, this is not yet ready for prime time. I'm hoping that you find the bugs for me and that you point it out so that I'll be able to get back and coding it and doing different things to make it a little bit better. We are working to build a suite of tools for realtors, and we're starting with that one. So when you have time, please do take a quick look at that and see how that could actually work. And once again, just as a reminder for those that are coming in next week, we have Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got 3 new tools that we're reviewing, and we're talking about, you really ought to know these. Perplexity has a web browser called Comet, which I think all of you need to know about. ChatGPT has ChatGPT Agent. And lastly, Google has Nano Banana. I don't know if you've seen any of these things. The visuals out of Nano Banana is nothing short of remarkable. It's a real wake-up call for anybody who's in advertising. Good news, in real estate, we could use these tools. They cost very little, if any, money, and you're going to be able to put it to use and put it to use for yourself to make more money. Please, please, please mark the date. We really want you to come. Okay, that's the end of that commercial pitch. Um, Geez, where were we? So, you know, getting back to the actual clients here, what are some of the other ways that we're staying in touch? Lisa Murray, please introduce yourself.
Uh, am I unmuted?
You're unmuted. We hear you.
Okay, sorry, I've been getting ready and blow drying my hair
And you're
and
walking the dog and you're
multitasking.
doing, but we know you already.
Okay, it's
Come on.
early here.
We know what we're getting when it comes to you, Lisa. Tell
Lisa
everyone who
Murray,
you are,
Scottsdale, Arizona.
right?
There is there's a ninja script for overpricing. And I don't know if I remember it exactly, but you'll get the point. And you just ask them, so, okay, Mr. Seller, how long do you want to leave it at this price before you'll feel comfortable that you're not leaving money at the table?
Sure. And
See what they say.
is that the core of the script, or is there more?
Yeah. No, I mean, how long do you feel comfortable leaving it at this price, the high price, before you'll feel like you haven't left money on the table?
Sure. Well, some people, it was very interesting. Dina will comment on this as well. We priced a house perfectly, perfectly, got it under contract in 22 hours, which is interesting because right across the street was the one that was way overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
And it was priced at just under 2.6 million. It's under contract closing in a week, selling for more than ask, and we had a bit of a bidding war. So some people said to the seller, "Oh, that's because Ed Bogen listed it too cheaply." Okay, fuck you, asshole. Are you kidding me? That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case because there's other properties here that are listed only a couple $100,000 more, and they are still sitting there. Dina's nodding. Unmute, Dina. I need some help here.
Yeah, 100%. Very similar houses, as super similar, super like right in that price point in the same community, just a little bit higher. And they have been sitting now probably for like 2 months. We sold it within 24 hours, bidding war, just done. And they were so happy. The sellers were so happy because they knew we did the right thing for them.
Yeah. And in both instances, when we've had bidding wars, anybody here get haters from other realtors that, you didn't take their offer and how dare you? It's like we're going to put in the highest and best, but if it's not our highest and best, that somehow you're the bad guy. Somebody help me out here. Who's had that happen to them?
Well, we've now had it happen twice in the last month. So
Yeah, we've had it to the point where Dean and I are prepared for a real issue with them. I mean, like real reporting to the Realtors Association type of stuff. There's there's a real angry agent that he didn't get this deal. So, but we keep constant records. We have emails with the clients. We did as we were directed. We do not break the rules. Terry Robeson in Brooklyn, you want to comment on this? Because I know you had your hand up there for a second. And can you?
Oh God, yes, it happens a lot that agents will reach out to you and say, "Well, uh, I came in over ask and we put down more than 20%. Why wasn't my offer accepted?" Well, somebody did better than that. What can I say? It's an aggressive thing now. You have to be very aggressive to get these properties, and yours wasn't aggressive enough. And the next time I spoke to that woman, well, we were best friends again. And I'm like, honey, there's a way to have these conversations. That's not it.
Sure. There's at least two times in my career where I had this lovely Greek woman with her two daughters bought a home, expensive home, 3.5 million. The other bidder was 3.55. Now it's very easy to throw these numbers around, right? $3,500,000. What's the extra five? The extra five is $50,000. The extra five is $50,000. And guess what? The seller was also Greek. He liked her more. The other person pissed him off, and he took her offer. How do you like that? Anybody ever have that happen to them? Where they've had an offer that was actually the lower offer, but it was still accepted?
Yes, sometimes it's just because it was the first one and they want to give kudos to the one that came in first and wanted it the most and whatever.
Lisa, you're so much the voice of reason. I love that. I love that. But it's really true because we have that now with another circumstance where it's an even more pronounced differential. They took the offer. Somebody came in before it was signed, came in with a higher offer. And the guy said, you know what? I gave him my word that I would take this offer. Had we all gotten ourselves together to sign at that point, we would have done it. I'm going to stick with my word. There are honorable people left in the world, guys.
There are. And I've had contracts go to veterans because they liked the fact that they're a veteran.
Yeah, have that as well. Sure. That was their down payment getting shot at. Okay, so there's some there. John, look at you. You have your little balloons going on there. John, want to unmute yourself and just introduce yourself and say where you are?
Yeah, how do those balloons happen? I just raised my hand.
When you do one of these things,
Oh,
yeah, it creates. And if I do one of these things, it should create hearts. You see?
there we go. Okay, I'm a little past due on my Zoom. Yeah, so I was just curious. I had an issue recently, not an issue, but a situation a couple months ago where I had a highest and best, and I had some unrepresented buyers that came to me directly, and I helped them submit an offer. I basically made them sign an unrepresented form. And they communicated the offer they wanted to present. I presented it in front of the seller, and I said, listen, you have to understand, I still have to help the seller navigate through the set of offers. So you just, I'm communicating it on your behalf, and it'll go straight to the attorney if you're the best terms and pricing. And they lost. They were like third place, and they immediately kind of came back and said, well, we want to revise our offer. And it was a situation where I was like, well, I mean, this is not traditionally how this is done, and but like I can't prevent you from submitting something. I have to give everything to the seller, and so they came back and revised the offer, and then I had a long discussion with the seller about it, and I was like, listen, I mean, obviously it's to my benefit, right, that they revised the offer because they're underrepresented, but I just said, listen, like I don't feel comfortable with this. I really think you need to pick your top three. There were about 7 offers, and I said you need to pick your top three, and I think you need to give all 3 of those guys a second, bite of the apple,
Sure.
because you can't just give one. And sure enough, we did that, and it came out with them not winning the bid again, but we significantly improved the offer by the other 2. I mean, it was pretty incredible. So I'm not proud of the situation. I wasn't driving the situation, but I think I had managed it pretty well, and I think the seller ended up like getting an extra $50,000 on top of what they were originally going to get. And by the way, this was only a $900,000 house. So it was pretty impressive how aggressive people got on it. And I just it was a unique situation. I just wanted to share the story with everyone because sometimes people do appreciate the second bite at the apple, and it is sometimes an interesting way to do it when you do rounds.
Sure. Well, look, notwithstanding what I said about the woman, the Greek family, this woman, lovely lady, Anastasia, notwithstanding, understand what $50,000 can mean in some deals. If you're selling your house now for $1 million and you have a $500,000 mortgage on the home, how much are you taking home? Very simple math. Go on, we all know. Ready? $1 million minus 500,000. Come on. Anyone? Okay, Dina did the 5. Dina's like a kindergarten. You have this. This is what you get. $500,000. $50,000 at that point is a tremendous amount of money. So it does make a big difference oftentimes to the sellers. I would like, if you could take anything from this meeting, I'd like you to constantly put yourself in the shoes of the seller. You know how much work you do. And if you look at, again, page, I think 7 in the workbook, it says that the preactive value documentation, clients can't see 90% of what you do. That's why a lot of people say, okay, great, let's do an open house. Let's do an open house. Why? Because it shows that you're working, that you're doing something. Even if the open house doesn't mean anything. If anything, it could be more of a benefit to you to get buyers. Isn't that true? Maybe?
Tell my sellers that all the time.
Yeah. So we don't know, what can you do? So let's talk about this. What are some of the ways that you can keep in touch with us? I'll give you a hint. Dina and I have a WhatsApp group that we have with Nicole, who's on vacation this week, but that's great. Dina, myself, or Samantha, if she's in that. And we have the clients get on that. So now when the clients have an issue, they'll send it to the WhatsApp group, and we know to check it in a timely manner. Now, we could do it with text or anything like that, but the client really likes that, usually, because it really does keep somebody in the know. What are some of the other ways that you're staying in touch with the Dina, go ahead.
Actually, one thing I actually wanted to speak with you about, Edmund, is when we right before I was away for 5 days, and right before that we went for a listing appointment, and we got the listing, which was great. And but what she said was, "Are we going to hear from you weekly? Or are we going to get some kind of report?" And I would like to start putting together a standard report that we do for all of our clients. This is what's going on this week. This is what happened. And maybe leave a section where there's like, this is some feedback we got. Even if it wasn't even from a showing, if it was another realtor who said, I really like the property, but I think it's a little overpriced, or I think it need, whatever. It's not the right neighborhood for this type of client that we thought we were marketing to. Whatever we can communicate. I think the clients want to hear from you. They want, even if it's just, we had no showings this week, things are a little slow, it's a holiday this week, whatever you just something to say, I'm thinking of you, I'm focused on you, you're top of mind, here we are. And I think just having a standard report that we could send weekly would be huge.
So great. Now let's roll right into the 6-component reporting system, because Dina brought it up. We didn't plan it, but there's 6 components in there. One, broker market, and it's in your book. 1, broker market activities, which include broker open houses, agent attendance and feedback, networking events and conferences, and direct broker outreach. 2, digital marketing performance, social media posts, and what was the actual engagement in those social media. YouTube video views. YouTube, there's no excuse not to get YouTube out there today. You might say that nothing comes of it, and you're right. Individually, it might. The aggregate of it all is what we're really looking for here. I'm not trying to make you famous unless you want to be. We could certainly meet about that. But website traffic, we could find these things out and we could talk with you all about how to get the statistics on that. Online advertising performance. I'm not a big fan of online advertising like Google ads and Facebook ads at this point for a variety of reasons. First of all, there's fair housing laws. So some of you have asked me, why don't I like advertising that much? If you could have what's called a lookalike audience, and I don't want to get too far off topic. That's where you have 1,000 people that really fit your demographic of what you want fed into Facebook. Facebook's algorithm over time will develop an exact lookalike audience of that to be able to then advertise to those people. Most of you can't do that. So what do? You'll do zip code 33496. What's the problem with that? Well, first of all, the demographic of the person has to be 18 to 65. 18-year-olds aren't my customers. They never have been. They never will be. Okay? They just won't be. That's not the market that I'm after. But because of fair housing law, Facebook, Instagram, all of these companies are making you do that. Two, you cannot zoom in on just 33496. It's got to be a 25-mile radius of 33496, which once again means nothing. So, for those of you who are able to make the online advertising work, and again, it can be made to work if you're working with a qualified professional to do it. If you're doing it on your own, my suggestion is don't do it. Now, if anybody wants to question that and say that I'm wrong, I'm man enough to be wrong. I really am. But I've not seen that work so well. I did throw this in here because it would be irresponsible not to. Three, direct mail and print. So what were the direct mail pieces? The print advertising placement, the marketing materials. Again, advertising in the local gazette is not necessarily the best way to sell the property. It could certainly sell you. It could certainly get everyone knowing that that Greg Coggins is the big shot in South Carolina, or that Hedeka is the person that you need to speak to when you're in New York. But that's not always the case to sell the property. Four, showing activity and feedback. So crucial. Even if it sucks, find a way to say your baby's ugly without saying that your baby's ugly. Nobody wants to hear that their baby's ugly, but sometimes they need to. And believe me, I've had some very ugly babies. It's been somewhat traumatic. Five, market intelligence. What is the days on the market? What's going on comparatively in the market? Now, again, in the case of Dean and I, with this listing that we resigned, the client didn't give a damn about any of this. And I'm not saying this is going to fortify you against those clients. Nothing that we're doing right now is going to fortify you against somebody who really just want, but we're going to heighten the probability of success. And that's what these meetings are really all about. So with that is days of market comparisons, comparative property analysis, recent sales statistics, and price reduction trends. Guys, you have to watch the market. What's happening right now in that marketplace? Dina is a hawk. She's always keeping an eye on what's going on, with much more so than me. But that's why we'll do another meeting about teams, why I think teams are so important. Really keeping in touch with that. And you got to ask yourself the question, if the 4-bedroom, 4-bath, with 2-car garage that has a pool that's got a great view, that's built in 2017, is on the market for 1.5, and a house down the street with almost exactly the same statistics comes in, but was made in 2015, you'll have some clients that'll lean in, well, our house is newer. Yeah, by 2 years. But how does it justify the $300,000 or $400,000 price point? You've got to ask yourself that question. You've got to try and put the client, the seller, in the shoes of the buyer. Well, if they're going to see this house down the street, they certainly will see our house. Not always true. Believe me, Dean and I discovered that. Not always true. If you're over the price that they're willing, so just keep all these things in mind. And the last thing is a communication log. Keeping all the notes of what you're doing to stay in touch with the client. Guys, this is work. And there's certainly ways of leaning in on AI and other tools to be able to do it, but there's still stuff that you've got to do. Here's a little trick or prescription to help you along. Keep all of your notes in one format. I use a digital note taker. When you actually get it onto paper, this thing transfers right to my computer. You could take all those notes, put it into ChatGPT and ask it to categorize all of these notes for you, and then keep a file on that client. So now you can keep everything building up, and you just leave your chicken scratch. You keep throwing that out there to be able to build more and more notes about this. You've got to fight to prove your worth. So just remember that. Um, We've got to keep the reporting schedule. We got to really keep it, some people say every Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday's a holiday. I don't like reporting things on Monday. Monday sucks. It's just not, the Mondays and Fridays tend to be bad days for both closings and um, and reporting. So I'd rather do that. Organized agents, they spend 20 minutes per listing. So you want to know about your time investment in all of this. You should budget about 20. You've got a budget for everything in life. Budget for money. If you're on a diet, budget for food. Okay. You don't have the calorie budget. You need to have a budget for time. Really, really important stuff. I'm going to let you all go through all this. There's also sections in here where you could keep the activity sheets of what's actually happening with the both marketing and activity in that client. I'm trying to get to the page that I liked so much. There's also client communication templates that we have in here of just what to say, how to structure it. And again, you can put a lot of this through ChatGPT to be able to communicate with the client. So if you're at a standstill and trying to figure that out, again, Eitan and I put a lot of time into these materials. I sincerely hope you take a look at it and adapt some of them. And then here we go. We got the master prompt. It's on one of the pages here. And what I want you to do with this is just put it on a separate piece of paper, fill in all the blanks, and then take what you filled out and put it into ChatGPT and hit enter. That's it. And then read it. There's no excuse not to read. I don't want you to just blindly send stuff off. But what you're going to get out of this is a communication template that's going to be very helpful. And if you don't think so, let me know. If you think that somehow we screwed this up, by all means. This is not a free pass just to screw around. It's not a free pass not to work. But it really does give you a starting point for how you're going to do this. You're going to make this report, what did I say here? Demonstrate comprehensive value, market expertise, and unwavering commitment to selling the property. That's what we really need to do. Now, if all of you are sitting there saying, wow, this guy's the master of the obvious, maybe, but I'll bet many of you haven't done it. And I bet you haven't put the time in that you're busting your ass to get this business. God darn it, it's so important. It's so important for you to go out and to communicate with these clients. And if you're having a problem with the time, call me. Eitan put a link in there, for you guys. If you want to schedule 15 minutes with me, we could say, if you want to talk about full-blown coaching, I'd love to sell you on that. It's a great service that we're offering. But if you want to take 15 minutes just to chat with me every now and then, please go right ahead. Use the timer. Eitan, if you have a chance, you could put that back in there so it comes up. Did I have a hand? I know when I'm talking too much. I feel like, Eitan, was that a hand or were you just waving hi? He's waving me off. He's telling me to go jump in a lake, Ed. He didn't care. Maybe. Avez-vous compris? Hello? Okay. Where else are we going there? Really, another thing that you ought to do if you don't have it with yourself is get an accountability partner. If you work with someone, the psychologists call it communicative commitment. Okay? I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I want you to come to me in 6 weeks and say to me, hey, Ed, did you lose the 10 pounds? Now, if I look at you and say no, do you get money? No. Do you get to beat me up? No. Do you do it? No. The only one I let down was me. Oh, yeah. Dina's like, The only one I get to disappoint is me. It's the same thing in business. The only one that you're going to disappoint is yourself. So communicative commitment is so, so very important, because if you actually get out there and really mean it and say to everyone, this is what's going to get done, and really mean it with all the effort that you actually can muster, you're going to not want to embarrass yourself. You're going to really, remember the story of Cortez, burn the ships? They sailed to the shores and they burned the ships so that the sailors had no opportunity but to fight the war. There isn't another option. You got to fight the war, burn those ships. That's the way of doing that. Okay, so that's the program. I would say to all of you,
Burn the ships. I'm not familiar with that reference.
who's familiar with burn the ships? I'm Greg. Greg is. I knew Greg would know that. Greg, unmute yourself and explain to Aton why you're going to burn his ship.
If I've got it right, and I forget who it was, but one of the famous world explorers way back in colonial days arrived where he wanted to, and I think it was somewhere in Central America.
Mhm.
And to prevent his crews and et cetera, the people on the ships from wanting or insisting that they go back to Europe, he burned the ships. So they were committed to exploring and doing whatever it was they set out to do in Central America. Have I got it right, Edmund?
To fight the savages. I don't know exactly who's the savages. They're the ones that landed in the other people's property. And they're the ones that actually started to fight, but that was the whole goal. Yes. Burn the ships, leave yourself no option. It's become more of a, and David even pointed out, I'm familiar with the reference, burn the ships. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, David. David's been helping us out with a lot of the tech side of this. So welcome, David. I'm glad to have you here. Okay, we're going to get to wants, needs, and brags in just a second. Once again, remember next week, Wednesday, Perplexity, ChatGPT Agent, and Google Nano Banana. Guys, these are great tools. They're free or practically free, and we're going to show you how to incorporate that into your business. I want and need you to succeed. You must make money. You have to make money. That's part of this thing. And you have to ask and you have to learn, and all of this is step by step by step. You just need to get a little bit better. If I can make you 5% better, we're really doing a great job. That said, wants, needs, and brags. Who's got somebody that they want, need, or brag? Now's the time in the meeting to talk about that. It could be about absolutely anything. I'll give you my brag. Yesterday was my dog's 12th birthday. You see how easy that is? Coco turned 12 and she just ran into the other room. I think she got a little shy here. But so that was my big brag. Also, I think if we take another brag here, we we have three closings coming up in a couple of weeks, which is great. And we've been really hustling with all of this stuff. So things are going well. Who's got a want, a need, or a brag? Now's the time to unmute yourself and brag about yourself.
I don't, this isn't a real need, but it's a curiosity. I put it in chat, but what note taker do you use, Edmund? Because I feel like I've tried them all and I'm not satisfied.
Well, we're using a bunch, but one of them, how come I've got an echo? Okay, maybe somebody just, one of them is called Otter.
Oh, no, but I mean like actually like notes on iPad with a pencil.
Oh, okay. What I have here is it's called Remarkable. And actually, this is that what you meant, or am I?
Well, yeah, that is what I meant. Yeah, I tried that one too. I wasn't crazy about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it writes like paper to me. It syncs automatically with your computer. And for me, I thought, well, that's what I use. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
I have
Yeah.
a hard time keeping it organized. I have one too, and I actually really like it, but I have a hard time working through all the folders and getting it like super organized.
I didn't
I
like
want
that
to
it
point out
wasn't-
Mark has one too.
Mark?
Yeah.
Mark has one too. But hold on, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I just, I've got iPads and they kind of do the same thing, and I didn't necessarily like it better than that. I liked it less.
It was spoken
Because it
like a
wasn't-
person who doesn't have ADHD. Aton and I can't focus. So, to me, to shut out all of the distractions in the world, that's what's really been the thing. Hold on, Greg, what did you have to comment on?
I don't use it, and I can't even say exactly what it is, but I know it's out there now. It's a clip-on, like a microphone clip-on that the TV people use,
Mhm.
that will record and summarize and capture all of your conversations. Of course, if you live in a state that prohibits that, or that there's a legal ramification, you want to make sure you understand that. But I'm sure you can Google it or Ask AI what it is and where you can get it. And it's not very expensive if I remember right. But at the end of the day, you sit down, kind of like Otter, you tag the conversations and it will organize them for you. This is my understanding. So anyway, another option out there. So many options. I end up with too many to manage. And Otter doesn't always work. There are some particular meetings that block it out.
Yeah, well, then you could turn it on in your own browser, by the way. That's where my Otter's running right now. You know, we
I
made
don't
a
know what you
technical
mean.
change to our meeting. You know, here's the problem that a lot of you had Otters coming in here, and I've blocked a lot of them, and I'll tell you why. Because when it comes through my invite, it automatically sends this, to promote themselves. It sends a transcript to everyone, and one day all of you got like 15 different emails. I mean, my meeting can't be a source of spam, otherwise I'll start to lose you. So what you can do, Greg, is turn on Otter right in your browser without having it join the meeting per se. You could actually run the recording as if you and I were in the room. That's what I'm doing right now, and it works great. So
Ed, I can't believe you don't mention Notion. Notion is the best note-taking application in history of AI.
Eitan, I've been waiting on you. So Eitan points out Notion. It's a great tool. There's a free version. We highly suggest you try it. Eitan and I are managing it right now. I had a professional Notion developer build out the start of a CRM. So we're making our own CRM with Notion. And you could have it for free. And if you want to be a paid user, it's as little as, I think, $15 a month. It's extremely versatile. It is a steep learning curve. Maybe not so steep, but you really do need to learn it. And but yes, Eitan, you were correct. I should have said
I think it's fantastic.
that's a good point. If I can make
And
one,
it integrates into everything, and it would replace your Microsoft 360 Office. It will replace your Adobe Acrobat. It will replace all those applications.
and it's the biggest app you never heard of. There's 100 million users. Did you know that? It's pretty remarkable, actually. 100 million users of Notion. So Eitan put the link in the description there. Also, I put in the description, if you haven't sent me your photo, bio, and social media lately, please, please, please cut and paste that and send it to me. And also, and all of you, I would encourage you to do this as well. If we haven't connected on social media, that would be very silly. So that's my social media. It's in there. If you friend me, I'll friend you back. Want to be friends? It'll be fun. But I do want to be connected with all of you. Okay, last couple minutes. Anybody else have a want, a need, or a brag? Maybe.
I want to know who's not member of our WhatsApp group.
And we have the WhatsApp. There's just too many things to actually feed out to everyone. We do have the WhatsApp group. Eitan, if you have the link handy, you could do that. If you
I
got
just posted it, so please just click on that link and you will be
yeah.
added to WhatsApp.
This meeting today was all about connectivity, and we really want to be connected with you. Oh, I always say in all the meetings, if you don't know where to start, contact someone from the meeting. Reach out to them. Everyone here is very nice. And if anyone's mean, let me know. I'll yell at them.
I want to say I'm always the one late person to sign up, but I went to the Facebook page on Ray Nation. I couldn't find the link for today's meeting there. So did I miss it, or was it just not posted?
It could very well, I don't know if you know, my assistant Daniel died. And since he passed away, we we have had a short we have had certain errors, and I've told everyone it's not an excuse, it's a reason. I'm accountable for my own business. It was an untimely death. The poor guy had died at 38.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and I met him in person for the first time a month before that. And so yes, not an excuse, but it is a reason. And you're right. We should have had it in there. Eitan and I will be having a debriefing about all these meetings, and we will correct that. So I do apologize because everything I'm saying is about communicating. Um,
No,
so
I mean it's all good. I've always used that as like my one point of reference because we all get 1,000 emails and WhatsApps and things like that. So
Eitan,
I
after
will make sure it's posted there from now
thank
on.
you. Thank you. After your client meeting, we will do that. We had Mark and then we have Dina quickly.
Yep, sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Lawrence. I know a lot of you. I'm in the title business, title insurance business. I'm also actually the weekly contributor to a show on brought to you by USA Today called Connecting America. So yesterday I did a piece on some celebrity real estate, which I'll probably do once a month. I'll send out some clips to that, but check out Connecting America on Instagram. It is a news show Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, encompassing viewpoints of everyone across America, shot in a diner in New Jersey. So check me out on Tuesday mornings.
Fantastic. And do you have a link to that?
I'll send it.
Please.
Mhm.
And send it just before the next meeting as well, and I'll make sure to put it out there. Guys, wants, needs, and brags are exactly that. This is your opportunity to be deliciously opportunistic. You like that little combination? Deliciously opportunistic. Okay, Dina. Got to unmute there, Dina.
Yep. No, I had actually just wanted to ask Aton to also please post the link for the Rain Nation meetings in the WhatsApp group. Because I think it's the Facebook page and the WhatsApp group are where points of contact where we can get to the meeting. Because I also get a ton of emails, and also in the email, I don't always see where to get into the meeting. So that would be great. And also my other brag is that Edmund and I did get a new listing this past week, and they told us that they interviewed 3 realtors, and I said, well, I hope we're your last interview, and we were, and they signed with us. So I'm really happy about that.
And we have a lot to be proud of with that. And it was Dina who, I want no credit for me here. She brought it in, and it is her personal sphere, which, was one of the things that I love about her is that she really has this rich uh, connections in life, and I think that's great. So thank you for that, Dina. And Marlene, go ahead. You got to unmute there, Marlene.
Morning, all. Marlene DeCespedes, Douglas Elliman in Orlando. I would like to ask, I would love to schedule a one-on-one with everyone. So if you guys can call me, there's my number in the chat.
Okay. Listen, if there's break-off meetings, if you guys want to go ahead and do that, that's fantastic. I'm all for, and we are, if anybody has certain topics that you want covered, if it's something I don't understand, that's fine. I'll research it. There's a lot of stuff that we don't understand, but we actually go out and study and build a whole curriculum around it. If you want a specific coaching program for your office, talk to me about that as well. So, guys, we do need to wrap it up. This is always goes too fast. It was a quick hour, but I'm grateful. That does mean one thing. Everyone could only get excited about this is that we've got Terry. Terry, thank God you're here. We'd be here all week if it wasn't for you.
Oh my God, what would you do?
Terry, are you ready?
I am so ready.
And when he says he's so ready, it makes me look at all of you and say, it really was great having you here today. I'm so grateful that you were able to make it. I look forward to seeing all of you next Wednesday to talk about Comet and Perplexity, ChatGPT Agent, Google Nano Banana on another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Mazel Tov. I love when he does that. It's really great stuff. We would never end the meeting if it wasn't for him. So good to see all of you. I hope to get together again. And Maxine, I guess I'm going to be giving you a buzz in a few minutes. Guys, thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you, Edmund.
You.
Bye.